My name is Charlie Banks, and I'm a 17-year-old kid who started the Young Minds Podcast to spread the Word of God. It is my goal to do this podcast. You learn, you laugh, you cry, whatever it may be. I just hope that you enjoy it and maybe grow in your relationship with Christ. But just remember, this thing that the Lord is starting is way bigger than any of us. So let's get after it. All right, man. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad to have you on today. If you could just introduce yourself, and then we'll just rock right on.
Yeah. Hey, guys. I'm Josh Thomas. I'm the missions intern here at Northside, and thankful to be here.
Yeah, man. I'm so glad to have you on. It was funny. I would see you every so often, just like popping into the youth stuff. You'd be just kind of in the corner, just chilling, Mm-hmm. But if you could go into your testimony a little bit, then we'll just go from there.
Yeah, so I got saved here at Northside actually when I was 12 years old, and kind of felt a little bit of a calling to missions throughout my life or some type of ministry, and we ended up moving away when I was 16, and we moved to Albany, Georgia, and I pursued soccer as a career and was kind of running away from the missions and what I felt like God had called me to do. I continued with soccer. I went and played in college. Had some good seasons, went and then played semi-pro one summer as well with a team. And it was to the point where I was engulfed with soccer. Soccer was my idol, and I didn't have my focus completely on God. And when all of that was going on, God literally humbled me and knocked me back into place, and everything started falling through with future stuff with soccer. I wasn't getting playing time like I thought I should have been, and other things in my life were going wrong, and other doors were closing. So I ended up moving back home, and then I went on a short-term mission trip to Brazil, and there it all clicked again, and I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
So right now I'm pursuing a career in missions and ministry, and I'll be going to Brazil in September for 3 months.
Woo!
To serve down there. And we'll see if it's something that I want to do full-time or if it's something that I want to come back and do ministry in America. So.
Cool, man. I actually had a cousin. He recently came back, and he was in Honduras for 3 months. Yeah. And, now he wants to, I don't know what he's doing right now. I don't know where he's at. He could either be back down there or he might still be here. But he wanted to go and back down there to learn Spanish, you know, so he could communicate, and not have to use a translator, which I understand, because, when you want to give a message to someone and help them, you want to directly speak to them and not have to use a translator for it. But, the pictures down there are, they're it's beautiful down there. People
South America, Central America, it's really pretty.
Yeah, but it's so funny. There was some stuff that he showed us that, it's been, there was places where, I think a guy, from Maine or something, he went and, he was pretty rich. And so he had, this whole, golf, this, race car, whatever thing. Yeah. You could, race the carts around, a track. It's down there in South, it's just funny. You'll just see, the most American things down there. There's a whole, golf course down there.
That's wild.
Pastor Robbie would love it down there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But, and how's it working with, I've interviewed him. How's it working with Josh Foster? He's kind of your boss, per se.
Yeah, so I've known Josh Foster since I was 12. And he's definitely been the Paul to my Timothy. Yeah. I would say he's been someone that I look up to and someone that I take advice from. And he's been there for me a lot, and I've learned a lot from him, and it's been really enjoyable learning all the different things about what he does in the church, what he does in missions, and just making connections through him that will set me up later in life really well. So it's been amazing.
I've only been here for a month, and I've already feel the same way. Yeah. Doing this, I could be here. I wish I didn't have school coming up, because I would stay here, man. Yeah. Seriously, and help you guys out, because I know there's a lot coming up, especially with all the construction and stuff. Yeah. Which they need to get here. I know there was 2 people here today.
Yeah, I know.
Get here now.
It feels like it's taking forever.
I know. It's just because we're waiting for it. But
we're anxious.
So what would you say is your favorite part about Northside? If you had to pick one thing, what's your favorite part about Northside?
I love how it's a community.
Yeah.
So usually when you get like with big churches, which I would consider ourselves a big church, we're a good sized church.
900 people, I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I went to Sherwood when I lived in Albany, and it's a massive church, but there is no sense of community.
Right, it's just kind of like people are in their own like cliques and things like that.
Yeah. Whereas here, everyone's so friendly with each other. Everyone's nice. And that's one of the big things that we get when guests come in. They say everyone's so friendly.
And I even looked at like, you know, because you can look at reviews on like Google and stuff. That was one of the first things that pops up, and that, you know, that's the truth. Because one thing that amazed me so much about it was like, and I've talked about this before. So Pastor Robbie takes his time out to shake everybody's hand, going through that door, all 900 people. Yeah, and it just blows my mind. Because that's a lot of people. That is a lot of people.
A lot of people.
You know, and I know you see a lot of people walking those doors every Sunday, standing by the missions desk. But yeah, you're right. I mean, people are so friendly. You know, all different walks of life too. I mean, all different stories, but it don't matter. We're all under the same roof.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's awesome, man. You know. Yeah. So you know how like we kind of discussed it already, but how has it been working with Josh Foster and others at Northside? Like, you know, you can talk about your experience working with other people as well. Like, how's that been? You know.
Yeah. So it's funny because two of my best friends are pastors here.
Yeah.
Will and Noah. Yeah. Like we've been best friends since we all came here. Me and Noah started coming to Northside around the same time, and we were best friends from the moment that we met. And it's great to see what they're doing, and I would help them out with anything that they ever asked me to do. Yep. Because I knew that they needed it, or just because we're so close that that it's been amazing. It's an amazing experience to be able to literally hang out with your friends every single day.
And at your job. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I mean, that's what I mean. You couldn't have asked for better, right?
No.
I mean, seriously, you know, and I talk to my mom about it all the time. Like, I mean, seriously, I've got a way better bosses than she does by 100%. You know, I talk about, like, I'm having fun up here. Because, I mean, seriously, how can you not? Because you don't know what in the world you're going to do when you come. Like, exactly. I mean, shoot, I don't know how much stuff we've cleaned out over these 6 weeks that I've been here.
Too much.
You know, filled up a dumpster, what, 4 or 5 times it feels like?
Dumpsters.
Yeah, I mean, and also just doing all that ministry work, like with the graphics and stuff like that. And, you know, one way that Pastor Jeff put it to me, which that's putting into perspective, is, you know, you're serving 900 people every week when you're showing. I'm like, you ain't got to put it like that, because that's just like exactly how, you know, it was like my eyes got real wide. I was like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way, but that's exactly how it is. Yeah. You know, and whether, if you know people are looking at it or not, somebody's looking at it and needing that information. Yeah. And so, you know, one, you don't want to mess up. Two, you're like, man, that is a heavy responsibility. Yeah. And I don't know how Noah is doing 2 responsibilities, like 2 ministries pretty much at one time. He's the man.
He is.
But I don't know how he's doing it.
He's the guy, dude.
You know, I don't know if I could do it. My brain would probably explode. Yeah. But, yeah. I mean, my experience has been awesome, you know? Yeah. I mean, you know, the great thing is, too, I've been thinking about it. I'm like, man, you know, I've pretty much got like a job already lined up. All I got to do is get my license. Yep. That's it. Yep. And I talked to Pastor Robbie about it, and he's like, it's yours. You just got to get your license. I'm like,
exactly.
I'm working on it. I'm on that. As soon as
improve. Get that license.
Yeah. As soon as he said that, I'm like, yeah. I'm going after it. You know.
Exactly.
Because I want it to happen. Like there's, and I mean for sure, ever since I started coming, I'm like, I want to do something more than just come every day and or you know come every Sunday, whatever. And I just felt that pull. Yeah. You know, it's like I feel like I can do something, and I think we all feel that. You know, it's at some point. This for the ones that are working here. It's like, I mean, again, why would you not want to?
Exactly.
Like, it's so fun up here. Like, I would say, you know, for people that they want to know the insides and outs of the church, maybe come for a week, just and see how it's like, and you'll be amazed at what you'll see. Because
the behind the scenes,
because people don't.
Is weird.
Yeah, I mean, especially with that. What was it? The you know, I can't think of what it was. The oh my gosh, it's gonna drive me insane. I'm a brain fart. But the meeting we had, I can't think of what the staff meeting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like that was like, you know, a big thing because like you get to see all this, like, and you know, it's months, like stuff is way out, you know, at the Bible conference, and they're already talking about that, and I'm like,
and it's already set up and planned.
Yeah. which is insane. It's like, I've already got what I think they haven't exactly planned it, but D-Now's already on the schedule, things like that, and it's just like we just got done with that. It feels like and you're already doing the next one, which is crazy to me. It's like people don't realize how like clockwork everything works together. Yeah. It's so cool.
And everyone's on the same page. So
yeah.
It makes everything.
Oh yeah.
A lot easier.
Mm-hmm. And I know you talked about your mission trips, but how many have you been on? Have you
I've been on 2 or 3 domestic ones, which means that's within the U.S.
Yeah.
And then I've been on 2 foreign ones. The first one I went on was Nepal. And I went for like a week and a half over there, and that's what really was pulling at me that I should go into missions and ministry, because I loved it over there. Like I loved being able to serve and just everything that we were doing. And then Brazil was that was it. That's when I knew 100% that I need to be doing missions and ministry. And that's all I could ask for. Like, it's amazing. Yeah. Once you are in God's will, you are at peace with everything. There's going to be times that come up that you're going to struggle and you're going to be stressed out. But when you're in God's will, you're not worried about the future. You're not worried about what's going to happen. You're just fully trusting in Him. And it's scary at times and at first, but God proved Himself over and over and over again in my life. I have no other reason to not trust Him. Right. So. Yeah, man. And I think that's so interesting about how you wanted to do soccer, like, such a big thing. Yeah. And then God's like, nah, I got other plans for you. And that's awesome that you followed it. But, because some people, they won't. And then they realize it turned out a lot worse. Yeah. For me, it was funny. I would tell people for years, because, we all get that question, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? I'd always say, like, something to do with, like, cybersecurity. So it always revolved around a computer or something like that. But then Northside came into the picture, and I was like, I want to do something here. It's like, and I knew there was got to be a need or something like that. So God just changed that perspective. It's like, and I couldn't have asked for anything better, honestly, like I've said. So when it comes to our youth, I ask these questions to everybody on here, but I love it because they give me so many different answers. Yeah. Right? But when it comes to your view on it, do you see hope, or are you worried about the future when it comes to the youth, or college youth, whatever, so young people? I think relating to the church, whoever wants the next generation the most is going to get them. So as a church, if we're doing everything that we possibly can for our youth that are within our church and reaching out to youth outside of the church, we're going to be able to get them. Other churches have to do the same thing. It can't just be one. But the devil's going to work hard. He's going to work hard to get them, but we have to work harder. And I feel like anything's possible when you're doing that kind of stuff, and when you're doing it with God and through His will. Anything's possible with that, and we just gotta do it. Yeah, we just gotta do it. You're right, man. What did Fred Luter say at the Bible conference last year? Faith is action. You just gotta get out there and do it. Yeah. One thing that is a testament to that is, VBS. 46 salvations. Exactly. That's crazy. That's good. And then we had for D-Now, there was I think 10 kids baptized. Maybe I don't remember the exact number because I was. Yeah. But still, it was a number. It was even if it was one, it was look at that. That was what was produced. And for me, D-Now was extra special because, because I was on the very top row when we sang in the choir. Yeah. And I actually knew one of the girls that got baptized. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize she was there. And then they were, said their name, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know that person. And it was so cool because I was right there looking at them. And I've always said it's got to be kind of funny for the person getting baptized, because the choir's just having to turn around and just look at you like this. Because that's how it was for me. I was because I had gotten baptized maybe after going to Northside, maybe about 3 services, something like that. They wasn't long. And so I was didn't know who half the people were. And so I'm sitting there if you've ever seen SpongeBob, I'm sitting here Patrick, sitting here going, who are you people? I was, oh my gosh, I was it was a happy time, but also nerve-wracking because you're sitting there in front of
so many people, like, hey, how you doing? Like, you know, and I can imagine that for those kids, too, like, how it was for them. And some of them are, you can't even see them up over the...
so little.
Yeah. And I thought, and then, what's his name? I think David Williams, you know, he got rebaptized, right? It was so funny because he was so tall. I was worried about that he was going to hit his head on the stairs, like, because he's so long, you know, like, I was like, don't hit his head on the stairs.
I would say if I had to baptize someone like him, I'd have to tell him, look, you're just going to have to sit down and then...
That, or like, we're going to have to, like, do it in the lake or something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not worried about hitting anything. I know, because that was one thing, and it was so funny. Like, my mom, she got rebaptized with me when I got baptized, and there was a lady. She was like, she said, "Oh my gosh, you know, I was sitting there, I was like, man, her hair's gonna get wet. She's having a good hair day." I'm like, yeah, she was, you know, it was hilarious though, like, and I'm not, even now, I have people who walk up to me and ask me about, like, this. They'll, like, because they recognize my voice, dude. Yeah. It's weird. It's like, I don't even know who the heck they are, but they've listened to one episode or something, and they'll go, "Aren't you the podcast guy?" And I'm like, uh-huh.
The podcast guy.
Yeah, the podcast kid or the podcast guy. Like, and it's like...
The podcast kid. I love it.
Yeah, the podcast kid, man. Like, the uncertified or, like, unofficial... podcast of Northside Baptist Church. Yeah. You know, because, like, I was looking at it the other day. Half of my interviews were from in here. And it's crazy. Like, that started from Pastor Robbie's interview, and I was just like, how many people can I ask? That's what I've been doing. I'm just going through and just working down the list. And it's insane how many people have wanted just to come on, because I've had a few people just ask me. Yeah. Like, Isaiah asked me, and then Miss Tina asked me, and I was like, sure. If you want, like, you know, I kind of choose a little bit because it would look, you know, it would look on me like how it would look if I got somebody, you know, I don't know how to put it without being rude, but, you know, anyway. But if it was anybody here, I'm like, sure, you know, let's do it. Because they obviously have a story they want to tell. And, you know, I tell people all the time, I'm like, I don't care if your story, like your testimony is just, I grew up in church. Guess what? People need to hear that too. Because they're like, oh my gosh, people grew up in, like, still grow up in church today. Like, they need to hear that because some people don't think that people go to church at all anymore.
Exactly.
So, but, you know, as we talked about the question before was talking about you worried about the future. Now, you know, as youth and young people, we face a lot in today's time, right? Like with social media, whatever, you name it, right? Yeah. You know, what's some advice you would give to young people that are finding it difficult to navigate this world in a biblical way?
So I think cell phone usage has a lot to do with guys especially falling into temptations. So if you're a guy that struggles with that, my advice to you is when I was going through high school and even when I was in college, if I struggled with any of that or I felt struggled with that, there would be probably a month that I would take my phone and I would plug it up in a completely different room. Around a certain time, like 8:30 or 9. And I'd put my phone up, plug it up, and I wouldn't touch it the rest of the night. And I'd go to sleep. And that's what I did. First of all, it helped me go to sleep, essentially, because you're not on your phone. Right. And second of all, it keeps all that temptation and junk away that's coming through the phones. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know why, but the later it gets in the night, the more junk you're going to see on your phone. Mm-hmm. And it's like what the heck? I don't even have TikTok anymore just because you can't control what's coming through.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I barely look at it anymore. Yeah, I'm like, nope.
I deleted it. I was like, there's no way. Like, I just want to laugh sometimes, but I can't even laugh because it got stupid stuff coming through.
Well, you know what? You can laugh up here. It's
exactly. Like, exactly. But I think that's a huge one.
Yeah.
For guys, especially that struggle with that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's something that, like, if you're a parent and you listen to this as well, if you're paying for the phone plan, make it a rule. You know? You pay for the phone, you pay for the phone plan. I mean, if I eventually ever find a girlfriend and get married and have kids one day, then that's going to be something that I do with my kids. Because it's not because I don't want them to not have a phone. It's because I want to protect them. And I'll give them the reasoning. And it's fine because they need to hear the reasoning and they need to know why. Mm-hmm. Because if you can catch the temptation before it comes and build a strong foundation and basis, it's going to be a whole lot easier for them to resist.
100%. Yeah, I mean, because I know that, like, there's some parents up here that I know that, they've told me they haven't given the kids phone. Now I understand it, Like, maybe a couple years ago I would have been like, why? Like, I got one, what do you mean? And, now I understand it. Because, I mean, there's so much stuff that tries to get thrown at you, like, and it's just so wacky. That's a lax word of putting it. Yeah. I'm just like, what in the world am I looking at? Exactly. Like, and there's other people looking at this too, but they actually enjoy looking at it.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's just junk, dude.
I mean, and that whole temptation thing. Once you slip into it, it's hard.
Exactly.
But you have to. One, you probably need to talk to somebody about it. No, it's not probably, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Because you can't do that alone. I mean, for sure, and also just pray about it because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to get out of.
Exactly.
One thing too, and we can talk about it a little bit later. I don't know if have you seen the Sign of Freedom yet?
No, I have not.
Oh my gosh. I won't get into it too much, but everybody needs to go see that movie. Like, everybody does, just because of what it's exposing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, did you know it was owned by Disney? Like, the rights were owned by Disney. So the whole thing is 21st Century Fox. They made this movie 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then they held on to it or they were about to release it, and then Disney bought them, and so Disney held on to it for 5 years and didn't release it. Now you can do your own speculation on why they didn't release it. Anyway, but the studio that makes The Chosen, they somehow, I guess, made Disney a big enough offer or something and bought the movie rights to it and released it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's crazy that this movie was made 5 years ago, and this whole could have been exposed 5 years ago, but no. People,
this is the movie that people are getting really convicted about too, aren't they?
About the child trafficking one? Yeah.
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 Okay.
I mean, and it's so interesting because I actually, I posted about, none of the scenes in the actual movie, got me, because I knew what to expect. I know what movie I'm going in to see.
Yeah.
And then a guy in the back, he says, after we're done, we're going to pray for our kids, of this kind of and I was like, that's what got me, because I started seeing them gathering. I'm like, oh boy, this is going to make me cry. And then, sure enough, it did. But, that was so cool to see in a public space like that. They weren't ashamed to pray,
exactly.
And I would have probably gotten in there if I wasn't bawling like I was.
Yeah.
But, man, that was so cool. And I'm so glad this movie's out now. It's and it's done remarkably well. It beat Indiana Jones in the box office. And Indiana Jones was in bigger theaters, was in more theaters, and yet this movie has made more money. That's all God right there. That's all I can say, because
exactly.
That's crazy. And obviously God was not very happy with Disney right now.
Oh, no. Of course not.
How could he be, right? No. But, so, why do you think it's important for youth to go on missions?
I think one of the big things for youth and missions is the mobilization aspect. You can build a strong biblical basis and foundation at the church through Bible lessons, youth nights, all that kind of stuff. And you can pour into them and disciple them. But there's something about mobilizing them and putting them on a trip and putting them on the mission field and letting them share the gospel and see the changes and the difference that they're making for themselves that makes something click in their head that, it's real, I guess.
Yeah.
Because most of the time they come to church and they're learning and everything, but they're kind of within that bubble.
Yeah, and then you have to go and apply that stuff.
Yeah. And so going out and seeing what different kids are going through, experiencing different cultures, even if it's within America, there's so many different cultures within America, mobilizing them and allowing them to be a part of mission trips, it's something just clicks in their head for them.
Yep.
And it sets them on fire. It
I
sets
bet.
them on fire, and it just builds a stronger foundation and base for when they go out into the world by themselves, essentially.
Yeah. So, and this just popped in my head, but was there a specific moment that you can think of that just blew you away while you were on a mission trip? Just something that happened that God did, you were just like, oh my gosh, that's crazy,
Yeah. So, when I went to Nepal, the state of everything that's there is just kind of like, I mean, it's third world country.
Yeah, it's run
like,
yeah.
Like no TP.
Gotcha.
Like no toilet paper. And so you get there and you're expecting everyone to be like really sad and stuff, but most everyone is just happy.
That's awesome. Wow.
Like most everyone is just happy, and it's kind of shocking just to see like, cause like we would never be happy in an area like that.
No.
Like never. Like I didn't like not having toilet paper.
Right.
But missions rule number 1, always bring wet wipes. So that was great. Like we had those, but like it was just wild to see that like they don't have anything yet they're happy.
Right.
Like they're just happy to have a day. And that's something that like it really hit me, that some of these people that are Christians over there, they don't have anything, but they have God. And that's all they need. And that's all that they've ever needed.
Yeah.
And something about that just resonated with me and hit me, and I was just like, I'm so worried about what's going to happen day to day. I'm so worried about, I don't have this, I need this. And most, like, a lot of the times we just lose track that, like, God's in control and that we have God. Why do we need anything else when we have God? These people, they have God. They don't have anything else. They've never had anything else.
Right.
So God is the best thing that's ever happened to them. Jesus Christ is the best thing they've ever had. We lose track of that because we have all this stuff that we don't need.
Yeah.
And that's just something like we lose focus on the one thing that truly matters.
Yeah.
100%. The one thing that we truly need. We focus too much on the useless stuff that we think that we need. And we don't.
Right.
And so that was something that just stuck out to me, that I was like, if we can change the mindset of Christians in America, then we're going to be able to reach more people. We're going to be more, it's just going to be better as a whole.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, like, when you talk about, like, people not having everything, but, you know, you're just like, why do I sit here and talk about having this and that and not having this and that? You know, like, doing this podcast and hearing people's stories, you know, because I'm sitting here listening to them, and it makes me sit here and go, why do I sit here and complain about the stupid stuff when this happened to so-and-so? Like, you know, like, I might have, you know, as a person, you may complain about, oh my gosh, they got like, my order wrong, you know, at so-and-so restaurant. Yeah. So what? You still got food.
Exactly.
You know, this person over here, like, just had this happen to them.
Yeah.
Like, and then it makes you go, man, why do I sit here and complain like that? You know, about and of course, in the moment, you're mad about it. You don't want to complain, but then you really realize, like, why that was pointless, you know? And then you think about those people, like, we're so blessed over here in America, like, with what we have. And then, you know, people just want to either, 1, dog our country, or 2, leave. Well, if you want to leave, go ahead. But anyway, you know, they don't realize what they have, you know? And it's just like, one day they will realize how lucky they were. And how God's blessed them. I mean, seriously.
Just go on a mission trip. They'll realize quick. You'll realize quick.
Yeah.
Drop you in Africa for a week, you'll come back.
Yep. I mean...
or you'll love it, or you'll find your calling. Right. Either one.
I mean, you know, and just even looking at, like, videos and pictures and stuff of, like, places that you're like, you'll realize how blessed you are, you know? Yeah. And yet, like you said, those people are so happy, which is awesome. Yeah, I love that. And, you know, there's probably a lot more, like... You know, because over here, a lot of people, they're kind of like in that me type deal. You know, they're just like closed off and it's just about themselves. Over there, you know, I'm just making kind of an assumption, but I bet they're more like closer and tight-knit. You know, being together and, you know.
Depends on the culture. Depends on the how the culture of the nation is. So.
Right. But still, I mean, I know that that's crazy. I'm in love that they're happy over there. That's awesome. Yeah. I really don't have any other words to say about that, but that's just so cool. But do you have any other final thoughts or anything? Words of encouragement, whatever. It don't matter to me. Prayer, it's whatever.
Yeah, I would say to guys my age especially, or guys that are going into college, build your foundation. Know what you stand for. And don't fall into the cultures that surround you. Because when you do, it's not going to end. It's not going to end well. It's not going to end well for you.
Nope.
Stuff's going to happen. You're going to make mistakes. but you gotta find your way back.
You're right. Yep. I mean, because like we said, there's so many like temptations around here. I mean, not just around here, but like in this country, you know, and everywhere. You know, because shoot, you could pick this phone up right here and find anything.
Yep.
And.
Yep. I went to a private Christian college, and there was more temptation.
Yeah, and I find that
crazy
interesting. You know, like there's. In like a lot of schools, that have like, the either Christian title or something like that in, the title of the school. You find some of that, there's more of that in some places.
There is.
Like I've heard, stories of like George Christian, which is not far from where I live at. Yeah. It's like, because I guess parents, they bring all the so-called like, bad kids, and put them there thinking they're going to, get Christian values and be better kids. Well, it makes it worse because they're all together.
Yeah.
And so, it's just like, man, I don't know.
There was more, and the culture of soccer around the world isn't the best as far as everything that goes on within it. And I fell into that culture because I idolized soccer.
Yeah.
And not saying that people can't be Christian and still play soccer. I have a friend that plays professionally in Texas, and he's one of the best Christian guys I know, and he's doing great.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I struggled with it, and God pulled me back, and He closed all those doors, and I'm so thankful for that because now I get to go to Brazil for 3 months and be surrounded by soccer and also do missions and serve.
See?
So it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I know Northside's happy that you're here.
Yeah.
And I am too. So
I'm glad to be here too.
Yep. Well, thank you for coming on. I'm so glad that, you were so willing to. And, I mean, that's the same with everybody that's been on. It just blows me away how many people are just willing to come on and tell their story and what their viewpoint is.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming on, and please be safe when you go out of the country.
I will.
Yeah?
I'll try.
All right, man.
All right.
Yep. And with that, another episode of the Young Minds Podcast comes to a close. Always remember, you are never alone, and faith is action. So let's get out there.